At this point, you can probably recite the official story about DACA by heart. DACA recipients are dreamers, the best America has to offer. They're all future scientists and humanitarians. If anything, you ought to be deported in their place. We'll meet 21-year-old DACA recipient Abigail Hernandez. She was recently arrested for making terroristic threats, allegedly, against high school students. She posted apparently on Facebook 2 weeks ago that she would go to East High School in Rochester, New York, and, quote, shoot all y'all, expletives. Sadly, we imagine this arrest could hurt her otherwise excellent chances of winning a Nobel Prize, but we'll keep you posted. Meanwhile, out in California, in Oakland, the mayor is an open insurrection against the federal government, not exaggerating. On Saturday, Democratic Mayor Libby Schaaf issued a press release warning locals that, based on several of her sources, she believed ICE, the Federal Immigration Administration, was about to launch immigration raids in the city of Oakland. The press release advised illegal residents to, quote, prepare, not panic, and advised them that business owners and schools were not allowed to assist ICE. Cesar Vargas is an illegal immigrant. He works as a lawyer in New York City, and he joins us tonight. Mr. Vargas, thanks for coming on.
Tucker, thank you so much for having me.
So how can a state actively work against federal law? Isn't that kind of how we had a civil war?
Well, what's the problem? Do we have a problem that a local city is protecting its residents? A local city is pushing against the overbearing power of the federal government? You know, the mayor is not saying, let's protect the rapists, let's protect the child molesters. The mayor is simply saying, we're going to protect our residents regardless of their immigration status. We're going to protect our hardworking residents.
Hold on. Let me just be clear. I'm not attacking any of the so-called DACA recipients, people here illegally. Personally, I don't know them. Maybe some are bad people. Maybe they're all great people. But the point is they're here illegally in violation of federal law. California is a state. The state of California is not allowed to actively subvert federal law. Then it's not really acting in concert with the other 49 states. That's an active insurrection. Am I missing something?
Well, the Constitution does provide basic rights, but the Constitution allows the states to create more rights for their residents. Here, we're seeing the city of Oakland
look, I know you say you're a lawyer,
to its residents, and not necessarily saying we're going to detain you, we're going to deport you. If you're working hard, you can stay here. Anyone who's committed a crime, ICE can still operate in Oakland
now you're getting
into
the country. Look, now you're getting into what we want to be true. I'm just saying what is true. Here's what is true as of now, and until Congress acts, it's going to be true. No, the Constitution has been interpreted by the Supreme Court for more than 200 years to say that states cannot act against federal law. That is one of the oldest precepts in American law. And if you say you're a lawyer, I'm sure you know that. So the point I'm making is this. These people are here illegally. Congress can change that. They can legalize them if they want. But right now, their presence is in violation of federal law. The mayor of an American city is saying you may not participate with federal law enforcement. You have to oppose federal law. That is not workable. You can't have that. That is an act of insurrection against the federal government. Do you see this? Do you care?
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Just because it's federal law doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's constitutional. The Supreme Court has ruled, and federal courts have ruled, that one, the president does not have the authority to use racial discrimination to target immigrants. One, it's unconstitutional for the president to target sanctuary cities by defunding their government.
You're actually missing.
The federal courts have ruled against unreasonable search and seizures from ICE targeting immigrants.
Look, I don't want to check your bar license or something.
Protects immigrants as well.
Okay. The federal government has a right to enforce federal law. Federal immigration law has not been overturned by the Supreme Court. Please don't make up facts on the show. Those laws are still enforced. And the federal government, by definition, has a right to enforce them. The states do not have a right to subvert them. There's no argument about that. So what you're seeing is something that cannot stand. I mean, the federal government in previous decades has sent federal troops into states when they do stuff like this. So do you understand the fire that they're playing with, or is it just it's cool because you think illegals should be able to stay here?
No,
that seems to be your core position.
I just think that throughout the judiciary history, we have shown that the states and the cities are the laboratory of democracy. The states have such power to do much more than the federal government has done. And what we're seeing here is the city saying, we're going to push it back against our overbearing government. We have done that. The king
You're getting
used
your
to
bumper
intervene
stickers
in the
confused.
colonial
That's
war.
like
And that's
whatever.
why you had,
colonial.
you have,
Okay, I'm sorry.
and look at this.
I'm sorry.
We
I'm not
fought
allowing you to teach
against-
American history on my show because you failed the
violating
course.
the rights of, of colonists, and that's why we had a colonial war. We had a revolution because we pushed against a tyrant. We pushed against unlawful laws
I mean, no offense,
that
but
violated the rights of
I
our
wish you wouldn't say
people.
we. Hold on, since you're not a citizen, actually, so you don't get to say we. I'm sorry, you just don't.
Well, I'm an American. Citizenship does not make me an American.
And
I think values make you what it means to be an American.
I don't know who told you that that's... No, actually, you become an American when you become an American citizen. That's the definition of it. I'm not attacking you as a person. I'm sure you're a great person.
Of course.
I'm sure you're smart. We're just different in that I'm an American and you're not. And that's just a legal question.
We're both Americans, though.
Right. No, that's not true. But let me ask you this, though. So Oakland's got all these other problems. And I'm not staying up late at night worried about whether illegal aliens get arrested in Oakland. Okay, I'm not, to be honest. What I'm really worried about, though, is the people who run Oakland care more about people there illegally than they care about the thousands of homeless that live on their streets. The hundreds of homeless children. The UN went to Oakland and said, this is cruelty what you're doing to your homeless. And yet they're spending time and money on behalf of people who aren't even allowed to be here. Do you see a kind of weird priority in that?
Well, I don't see a weirdness that the city of Oakland is protecting all its residents, regardless of their immigration status. What we're seeing now, if you want to talk about homeless people, well, I'm talking about the Trump tax reform that's benefiting the wealthy and the 1% and give them more tax break. That tax break should go into helping those homeless people. Should be going to help them into
that's so silly. I'm beginning to think I don't think you should become a citizen. I mean, no offense or anything. It's not. I would be happy to have dinner with you, but
let's go for dinner in a nice Mexican restaurant.
Not a very smart point. Caesar, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Tucker, for having me.
The Democrats' answer to the Nunes memo is out. What is in it? It's confusing, but we're going to explain it for you next.